You guys, what's up? We'll be going over how to squat today with Coach Kags. We'll be going over how to set up your squat rack first of all, and then how to execute the squat, and then we'll get into how to improve your squat with some accessory work and some assistance work, okay? Let's get into it. Let's get some jacked squats. You guys, so setting up your squat rack, first of all, make sure the bar height is shoulder width, so you don't have to go on your tippy toes or bend the knees too much. Unrack the bar. While you're unracking the bar, make sure your hips go underneath the bar. So your hips are right underneath, both your feet are there, not just one step, and then create that shelf in your upper back. So take 2 steps out. So one main part here for the setup is gonna be the foot stance, right? This is gonna depend on the individual, how your body structure is, and where the bar is on your back, depending on what kind of squat you're doing. Ideally, what you want is find a stance that feels comfortable for you, and don't be scared for your feet to turn outwards initially, right? And if that's your natural stance, that's totally fine, right? Usually I find most people are good with having their feet outside hip width. That's a pretty natural stance for most people. But as you squat, you'll start to find what's comfortable for you, right? So start with one stance, see what feels good, see what you can get depth in, and good range of motion, no pain, no discomfort, and then just practice in that motion, right? But usually stances outside hip width. Now let's get into the squat itself. Now 3 main areas I want you to focus on. I'm gonna work from bottom up. So the biggest thing is foot pressure, right? So maintain that foot pressure on 5 areas in the foot, right? So underneath the big toe, underneath that pinky toe, and the pinky toe itself, and then 2 spots in the heel, okay? That's the 5 spots you're working on, pushing into the ground. Almost think about your leg pressing the ground away, okay? Second thing, make sure your torso is in a neutral position. This part is gonna depend on the individual itself, like how you're structured, but you wanna keep it as neutral in line with your spine as possible. Third thing is gonna be upper back tightness that we showed in the start. Once you have those 3 points, your foot pressure, your upper back is tight, your torso is neutral, then just think about sitting down. So sit down for me, bro. Hold for a second, and then get back up. Nice. Sit down. Hold for a second, and up. One cool thing to do here, when you're at the bottom, so go down again, is almost think about pushing your palm into the bar as you're coming up, so you maintain that upper back tightness while pushing your feet into the ground. Up, easy. So don't overcomplicate it. Just think about foot pressure, upper back tightness, and keeping that torso neutral. And then just think about maintaining that body tension the entire time. Don't loosen up, okay?
So one thing I want to talk about is breathing. I think it's really important to be able to generate tension in your core, as that's kind of what's pushing yourself up. So when it comes to breathing, making sure you're taking big, deep belly breaths, trying to fill your belly up with as much air as possible, generating as much tension, and maintaining that through the lift. So I like to hold my breath as I go down and as I come up, and then I'll breathe out and take my next breath. So I'll breathe in between reps. Another thing I also want to focus on is when you're going to unrack the bar, you want to make the bar your bitch, right? So you want to make sure you're going in there with confidence. You're making sure you're ready to handle that weight, because if you go in with a soft unrack, when you come out, you're not going to have as much upper back tightness, and it's a lot harder to create that tightness when you have the weight on your back as opposed to when you're going into it. So really making sure you're going into a lift with confidence. You're really making sure you're unracking the bar with force, getting as tight as possible before you walk out, because your setup is going to determine how the lift goes. So that part is really, really important.
You guys, so now hopefully that helped you out. We're gonna go into some assistance work that'll help you in your squat. You know, maybe you stall at the bottom, maybe you stall at the top, sitting down, and then we'll go into some accessory work, just help you put on tissue and get stable so you can get your squats more jacked, right? Let's get into it. So a couple movements to actually improve your squat, especially like, say like, you're not that good at pushing off of the ground, try some pause or tempo squats, right? Meaning you pause at the bottom, or you slow it down on the way down, slow on the way up. That way you're spending more time in the positions you're not that good at, okay? You'll see some videos up here that show those variations. Another great one is a front squat, which kind of helps you maintain that upright torso position which is opposite of the position that you go into a barbell squat, right? So you get strong in different positions, you get stable, it'll translate well to your actual squat. And then last thing, you wanna make sure you're doing some single leg variations, like a Bulgarian split squat, we'll show here, and then, or like a walking lunge, right? These two movements are gonna help you stabilize both legs. So when you go into a squat, both your hips are pretty nice and juicy, and you can sit into the squat nice and deep and get a good squat and get stronger on the squat without getting injured, right? Hope that helped. Please check out the link in description where we have a template on how to squat properly, but also a program that takes you through getting your squat actually jacked and get strong over time and get jacked. Hope this helped. Thank you, Coach Kags, for helping us out today. And
Yes,
any
sir.
questions, let us know.
Take it easy.